And it's the Blue Room. It is your instant match reaction for Everton 1, Manchester City 3. I'm joined by Mark Mosey. We managed to get away, Mark, just in time before the biblical storm hit around Goodison and Merseyside in general. First and foremost, have you ever seen lightning like that in your life on the way back from the ground today?
Yeah, I'm going to make some dad joke about it being the only spark, but...
Very good.
Yeah,
very good.
Thank you. Well, on the second take of the pod, I will do that without introducing myself to the joke. But yeah, a bit of fucking pathetic fallacy on the way back from the ground, really, isn't it? I think we were all feeling a bit glum, and as the rain battered down, I think that's at the point where most Evertonians were making their way down Goodison Road. I have been privy over the years to many a Park End exodus, but that one tonight, for anyone that was sat in that end, was something else. I applaud each and every one of you.
Was it as soon as Jordan Pickford fucked up that kick, everyone was up out the seats?
I reckon of the people who left, 70% of them were off their arses while the ball was in mid-air. I guess I know I was. But yeah, we have seen those moments down the years where, you know, they are just game-ending situations, aren't they? But I'm sure we'll go on to talk about Jordan Pickford's involvement in that, and bizarrely in the other goals, which is being highlighted on Amazon Prime tonight. But I personally don't think he owes us anything with his distribution and you know, everything he's done for us over the years. I know there's been little hit and miss spells, but for people to jump the gun and say that he was at fault in any way for Everton ultimately losing that football match, I think you are neglecting the previous 92 minutes where Man City looked, unfortunately, like a very, very good football team. You know, I do think there was a blueprint there, that there was a plan there that was working. And ironically, I think if we were possibly going to beat Man City tonight, I'd have probably just done exactly what I've just watched. Sometimes things don't go your way, or the other team are obviously just supremely technically better than us. But there was moments, wasn't there, in the first half in particular, where you thought, this game is here for us in the next 30 seconds if we can just get another one. Or you know, when Pickford makes that double save up at the Gladys Street end, you think, you know, maybe tonight is our night. But it's ultimately not to be. It's another one where you look at and think, is this just too many games in quick succession for Everton ending in playing the world champions? You know, we got beat by a very, very good football team, and I'm not going to reflect on this in May and point at this as the reason why we finish wherever we do.
Dave Downey joined us. Did you enjoy the weather on the way back into town, Dave?
Yeah, it was. I felt safe being in a car. To be honest with you, mate, it was much easier being inside the car. Yeah, I've never seen lightnings like that. I mean, you'll see it much more, mate, on your way home there, Mark. Yeah, but there was a bit of lightning in the game, wasn't it, towards the end? Jack Grealish having a fight with everyone and all that. Did you see what happened at the end? Yeah, well, obviously you wouldn't have on the way back. Grealish goes up to shake Patterson's hand. Patterson says no, and Grealish starts absolutely seething against him while they're walking off the pitch.
Goes over. Took a second yellow then.
Probably should have, but yeah, I'm sick of watching this right now, mate, to be honest with you. The fact we got that penalty, unbelievable. Well, I say unbelievable. When I seen it, I said, sadly, and this is how sad the game is these days, I was like, yeah, that's a penalty. Yeah. It's a penalty. And how sad it is that you have to say that.
Is it a penalty, though?
Yeah, it's a penalty these days. It's not. It is now. But it is now.
Because his arm is across his face.
He's moved his arm towards...
He's not extended his silhouette. His arm is across his face. The ball's hit him in the arm.
Yeah, it's hit him in the head.
Right?
Yeah.
Before you consider the ball is flying 10 rows deep in the Park End and not even going near the goal...
Does that matter, though?
No, it doesn't these days.
Matter.
It doesn't these days, mate. That's why it's such a killer. They were sitting there fucking seething.
And then we consider the fact the referee gave a corner, gestured for a corner, and then as soon as he's surrounded by 4 City players, changes his decision.
That was the line out. He turns to the lines.
Right.
The linesman gives it.
So the referee's 5 yards away, and the linesman's 30 yards away. The linesman gives it, so the referee goes, right, okay, yeah, I'm going to give that.
No VAR involved.
It's an absolute disgrace. There is not, right, outside of your usual suspects, you tell me a team in the league that's getting that given as a penalty. Not a single one.
I think that there's very few referees who give that penalty for, as Keith suggesting, any other team bar the elite here. But I can't imagine a world where a linesman overrules a referee to say it might be a penalty to Everton, that mate, because it just that situation in that game, be it at Goodison Park or at the Etihad, that it simply doesn't happen. And I know, we talk about corrupt and all this sort of stuff. It's just unconscious bias for me. I think that
It's not even unconscious.
That linesman's not on the take from the league, let's be honest. But he sees a Man City player smash a ball towards the goal. That ball can't have travelled more than 2 yards before hitting Amadou Onana, who, as Keith said, has got the arm in line with his body. It either goes in the stand or it goes in his face.
Does it even hit him on the arm?
It does.
It's going to break his nose off.
It's hit his armpit, rolled up his arm, and then hit him in the face.
The phrase that always gets mentioned is unnatural position. I don't know if anyone's ever been kicked in the face with a footy before, but I find it quite natural to try and stop that from happening.
The video's on here now. His arm is across his face. It's not away from the body in any way, shape or form.
No, it's not a penalty.
It's less than a yard
Not a
away.
penalty.
But the problem is, like I said, as soon as I saw that, I thought it's a penalty. And the reason why I thought it was a penalty is it's because of what they do these days. What they got on here now, Clattenburg, wonder what he's saying over there. But
The problem is,
do you think you go to a point where that's naive for a player to do? Because they know it's going to be a penalty.
I think it's natural to do that.
The problem in this situation is the referee's giving it on the field. Even though he's given the corner initially, he's then changed his mind and given a penalty. So VAR has to prove he's made a mistake by giving the penalty, right? And there's not enough in it because the ball does touch his arm. There's no getting away from the ball. In fact, the ball touches his arm, right? But that hinges on him changing the on-field decision. If he sticks with his decision, gives the corner, and that goes to VAR, they do not give that. They can't give that.
But then you get ones like the Calvert-Lewin goal against Spurs, which is like a 50-50 decision where the referee decides, or the VAR decides, we are going to interfere with this one. Like that, I think like that's like a... I think it's not a penalty, but I can see why it might be given. But it's like it's not one of them where you feel like VAR's like got to get involved. Like, so it can kind of get why like the referee's giving it.
They didn't get involved though.
No, but they looked at it, didn't they? Because it came up on the screen in the ground. But do you know what I mean? Like, I can see why that has been given and why VAR have said that's fine. But it's like, but then you look at last weekend and it's like, I can see why the referees not like blew up for the Andre Gomez foul before Calvert-Lewin scores. Like, and VAR doesn't need to get involved in that. So why is it getting involved in that one and not the other one?
And both of them are linesmen. Linesmen have been involved in both of those, by the way. I don't get on this one, and Keith sort of said that then, when you've got a referee that looks at it, he's 5 yards away from it, looks at it, carries on, and he turns to the linesman who's waving his flag, and he's 20 yards away from him.
You're saying that referee is not good enough to do his job, that you have to take the decision away from him?
They would then say, that's what VAR's there for. They'd say, he's missed this. But the reason why that pisses you off so much is because there was no VAR in charge past the linesman saying it's a pen. That's why it's so disgusting. And the other thing, that's why sadly I said then, as soon as I seen it, I thought that's a penalty based on what we have this season in the game.
6 teams in the league get that penalty.
Yeah.
Right?
Home and away.
Now you tell me, bias, unconscious bias, blatant bias or not, you tell me that's not corrupt. Right? Because these teams are playing for a lot of money beyond everything else, right? There's a lot of money involved in this game, and that money is being funneled to the bigger teams on the back of these decisions, right? And these decisions, time and time again, go for a certain select group of teams. You tell me that's not corrupt.
It's hard to make a case if you wanted to do so. Do you know what I mean?
The problem with that decision, I think, tonight, and in particular the Gomez one last week, is that you are very, very quickly getting to a situation where every single phase of play or tackle or handball or whatever it may be is governed by VAR.
But there's only certain things they can look at. They can't look at a second yellow. They can't look at if it should have been a corner or a goal kick.
I think, the talk now is how much the referee's on-field decision means. You know, I can very easily see a situation in 4 or 5 years' time where there just isn't a referee, because if that's how we're going to do it, you know, just put a security guard on so Grealish doesn't bang anyone else, and then other than that, you might as well just let some computer do all the reffing.
Well, everyone's in it behind them. If 10 of them are voting and 6 of them win it, then that's the decision.
Like
It's so silly.
If we're putting like a load of stock in the on-field decision, like I can get why that tonight is a penalty. Like I can totally get on board with that and say, do you know what? You see Ronaldo's hands up, he's protecting his face, but he's not outside the silhouette.
Live speed, that looks like
yeah,
penalty.
I can get on board with that and say, right, do you know what? The referee's made that decision. Fine. But like, why isn't that the case for us? Like I said before, like at Spurs, like the referee's seen that. The assistant referee's seen that. It's like, so why are they getting involved to like a minute detail with that one and looking at it so slowly? And like, I think it's about 30 seconds to look at the one tonight. It wasn't on the screen for long anyway in the ground. Like, and I might be wrong here, but it's like, go back and look at that frame by frame, then I say, and look, watching it full speed and say, is Onana protecting his face? Is he outside the line of his silhouette, like you said? And it's not. That's not a penalty when you do it like that. So very strange. But just in regards to, you know, you're looking at the screen now. Is there any more?
Guardiola's just about to go to your seat there, you know, Mark. He's going up to speak to Gail Clichy.
Oh, Pickford's really unlucky with that penalty, by the way.
Yeah. But in regards to overall, like, spoke to Mose about it, but Dave, again, like it's annoying to say, and maybe people like feel differently, but after the way we played tonight, I couldn't really ask for much more from them. I think they gave everything. Good game plan first half. I just feel like the best team in the world came out in the second half and played well 15 minutes and they picked us apart a little bit.
Yeah, I think the point I made at half time was Everton are so well drilled now. Perhaps based on how well we've gone for the last 6 games, lost 2, won 4, and probably should have at least got a point at Spurs. I think we're so consistent at being able to play in a particular style that Dyche has drilled into these lads that I think City coming here tonight and wouldn't have fancied that. Go 1-0 down, they couldn't fancy that at all. And I think that basing that as our style of play, whatever people want to call it, and watch us and analyse it to the nth degree, I think Everton coming out and playing like that, maybe we'd be absolutely fine at Goodison. I know they're the things that we've struggled. I think we have struggled to get to a style that we just hammer and hammer and hammer now. When Dyche was initially with us and got to the early part of the season, I think he's looking at the opponents. We've got more so than the side we've got. I think he's flipped that, and it's just us as we are. The side we've got, the players who are in, that he's looking at before he even looks at who we're playing. That's what I'm looking at Man City there. I've never looked at us against them and think we've had to play a particular way. You could put any opposition against us today and not know who they are, and you wouldn't be looking at Everton thinking they're playing different because of who they're playing. And yeah, I mean, you go 1-0 up there. He must have had a fucking nightmare at half time, you know, thinking how it was. The only thing that pissed me off most of it was Bernardo Silva having the ball as much as he absolutely wanted it to. That's the only thing that wrecked me head.
I think first half is the template for the perfect way to play against Manchester City, right? They were direct, they were in the face, they pressed everything. And you saw when they put the press on, City didn't want it. City made mistakes. They put the ball out for throw-ins, whatnot. They gave the ball away. They lumped it long, right? My big complaint is they came out second half and sat off. That first 10 minutes of the second half, they sat off and let City get on the ball and dictate the game again. And fair enough, you might be tired after a first half of pressing like that, but you've just had a 15-minute break. And if you're that tired that you can't press the ball in midfield, put your hand up and ask to be subbed. And get a pair of legs on who will press the ball. Yeah?
Do we have any midfielders on the bench?
No, that's it. and Keane comes on.
I mean, they had Dan Juma on the bench who could have come on for Harrison and pushed him inside and dropped Gomez back. What I will say is, I think André Gomez played quite well tonight. I will give him that credit. I think he was good on the ball. His final product wasn't quite there a couple of times tonight. His final ball was a little bit off, but he looked composed on the football. He looked like he wanted the football in midfield. He looked like he wanted the ball. He wanted to get things moving forward at least. And if that's a sign under Dyche that he's going to take players that we've previously written off and make them into competent footballers who can come in and do a job, then it's no bad thing. Same with Michael Keane. Michael Keane looked good when he came on. He won a couple of really important tackles, won a lot of his headers. My one gripe with Keane tonight is that one where he won the ball in the centre circle, charged on, and then passed it wide. Just hit it. Just hit it. We know you've got an absolute rocket about you. Just have a lash. Just have a go. I think the first half is a perfect game plan to play Man City. The second half, obviously, they sit off a little bit. City get the equaliser, and then there's the thing, TM, that happens. We can't go on about that anymore, otherwise people are going to just switch off. But after that, the game's gone. City go into ball retention, comfortable, play the ball about. Even then, we made a couple of chances, right? This is a different animal to Everton 22-23, Everton 21-22, right? There is a fight about this side. There is a commitment about this side, and they will go for it. Admittedly, that the only big chance we had was the Calvert-Lewin one. How he's missed it, from my angle, it looks easier to score, but then I'm not a professional footballer.
I think he's being thrown on his way, though. His momentum is going to hit the
Fair enough.
It's exactly the same chances for Charleston scored last week. Just sort of went through my head.
Similar what Harrison scored with this. You just need a slight little flick
But
across the goalkeeper.
after the second goal goes in, once you let City get a lead, they are nigh on impossible to peg back, right? It will happen once in a blue moon. You see what happened with Palace the other week, right? But 99 times out of 100, as soon as City got a goal in front, that's game over. Because there is no team in world football who can keep the ball like them. There was times where they had the ball pinned against their own corner flag, and they just passed the way out. Everything went through Rodri. He's got this awareness of the football pitch that's akin to Xavi had with Barcelona at the peak.
He's like Busquets with muscles.
He can take the ball with his back to goal, and not a single player on that team is worried that he's going to give it away.
Cheers for Rodri.
I was thinking this.
He's gonna pick the right pass every time.
Gone to Blue Moon.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he's great.
City were below average tonight, and we could have got at them. We did for a bit, but didn't inevitably. Right? What I will say is, I'm not going to go all in on negativity after that. Right? That's an Everton team that's showing me something about them. Right? You play like that against 15 out of 19 teams in this league, you'll get at least a point.
You won't lose,
right? Yeah. You're just unlucky tonight. You get up against officially the world champions, the best footballing side in the world.
I thought it was just a nice, refreshing change with Andre Gomez. You know, I feel like I spend so much of my time at Goodison Park looking at whatever three lads are in that midfield, thinking who's the most advanced, who's sitting, who's the ball player. I'm just sort of a little bit confused by it and just seeing something a little bit different. I thought he looked a bit tetchy on the ball early on. He looked like someone who knew he hadn't played at Goodison Park for a while. And, you know, there was a couple of very simple, loose passes, but, you know, most of his game wasn't that. It was just getting stuck in and into the City midfielders, which is just not his game, sadly, is it? I think the thing that was really, really good and clever about Everton tonight was that press that you've all mentioned was so intelligent. It wasn't gung-ho.
And they knew when to press.
When they did, there were a couple of occasions where the ball went back to Ederson and the two centre-halves split, and we had three lads right up on top of them, and he took us apart. And it's almost as though people like McNeil and Harrison and even someone like Gomez, who was usually the most advanced of those three, looked at that and thought, if we keep doing that, we're going to get absolutely battered here. And if you look back at the goal that we scored, this might shock people, but the Park End was getting a bit frustrated because City have got the ball at the back, and it's almost as though we're relatively comfortable letting them have the ball in certain areas. And James Garner's very clever in terms of allowing someone like Rodri to have the ball in a situation where he thinks you're going to find it really tough to get out here. You know, he's obviously capable of doing it and did it in the second half numerous times. Exactly. But I
Like
think
you said, man, perfect example what you said there. Exactly like Busquets, just a beast.
we set traps for the best team in the world, and that was really, really clever to see how Dyche, who's had 4 days to prepare a team to go and play against one of the best sides any of us will ever see at that ground, to be able to do that and to put them into situations like we did in the first half.
Came off for 45 minutes,
Absolutely, and I think we said on the way back into town after the game in that not because he was personally having such a diabolical game, but John Stones going off really hurt us, because that kind of Stones, Ake at left back and Akanji at centre half next to him, they looked really uncomfortable. The one where Beto ran across Akanji and him and Gomez won a foul for a free kick, and you thought there's so many places in the world that those two lads at centre half would rather be than playing against Beto now.
That's why it's such an intelligent setup that he put in there. Other thing as well, thought that was probably the best game that Harrison's had for us. Thought he was brilliant on the right hand side.
Harrison
again.
Good tonight,
Well, you know, when you said there we'd have 3 players up against theirs when they split the full-backs on either side, and you've got 3 players of ours trying to win it back. To the exact opposite for him. He was playing that well. They had 3 go across to him, and he was doing all sorts of nothing to Garner, to McNeil. I thought that was a really positive performance for him.
We used our heads in the first half and thought Man City actually need to do something here. They're the ones who need to come out and score, and to Everton's credit, we tried to just keep doing exactly the same thing when we went 1-0 ahead. The problem is just undoubted quality, isn't it? If someone like Foden picks the ball up, the part of the game plan for Sean Dyche is probably, if Foden has the odd shot from 30 yards, then we'll try and deal with it. Sadly, he's just great at kicking the soccer.
It's a great goal, isn't it? I have a bit of a controversial gripe that I'm going to bring up, and I'm going to go in on a bunch of 14-year-old kids here. Yeah. But what is the point in our ball boys? Right?
Oh my word.
At 2-1 down, they've got a ball sat at their feet, and they don't move.
This is
They
normally
sit down,
PG, we'll
right?
have to up it to 15 or 18.
I'm going all in here, right? Because there was a point
Red and white shite, I don't know.
where Jordan Pickford had to run 40 yards to get a ball when there was a ball boy 10 yards away from him with a ball at his feet. Why are we putting the balls around the pitch if we're not going to throw them to the team?
It's not like a Premier League rule now.
No, it's like all the balls are stocked along because they quit that, didn't they? That was only meant to be there for COVID.
I can only imagine this is something Everton have decided to do as a thing.
I can accept it when Everton are winning 1-0 and defending a lead, but when Everton are trailing a game and just sitting down and just go on, you chase that. What is the point? Why have them?
Do you want the balls volleyed into the stand when we're winning?
Yes, absolutely. Like that. Who was the one in Spain where the player went to get it off the ball boy and he just chucked it off over his shoulder while maintaining dead eye contact? I want that level of pettiness from our ball boys. So basically, get the ball boys in at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning for extra training.
Sorted, Dyche.
Yeah. I just want to say one more thing there about the attitude we've all got. Normally you'd say, you go 1-0 up in that game, you see when we're heading to it, like yourself, you've been really positive recently, Matt. Go into that game, you think, I'll take a draw now, right now. We didn't play like we were playing for a draw, and that's really refreshing rather than being really naive, Matt, and that's when I get more of what you're consistently saying about there's a positivity about this, there's wins.
This team's not bad.
No, it's not.
Bad
But that's a pure example of what you've been saying about this. The fact that you're able to go out there and think, you know what, we can do these in our particular style. Not thinking of anybody else, not thinking of City have fucking battered the best sides in the world when they've gone away to them. It's like, we play like Everton, confidence in what we're doing. We can play these, you know what I mean? That's why I wouldn't go into that game thinking it'd be good if you get a point, don't get me wrong, but you don't go out there to play to get a point, and we certainly didn't do that.
I think the most important thing as a fan, and the emotions you mentioned going into the game, I want to come away from that game and look at the next 3 or 4 games and think we'll be all right here. You know,
Not sure against Wolves away, by the way, if you see what they did tonight.
there have been times, haven't there, coming away from, you know, I appreciate it's Man City tonight, but coming away from defeats in general at Goodison and thinking, where on earth are our next points coming from? There is a resolute nature about this side where you think, you know, even if you take a hit on a night like tonight, there is something about them that will pick themselves up, albeit in 3 or 4 days.
But do you not also think that, like, obviously, he only had like 10% of the ball or whatever?
When do we play again, by the way? Is it tomorrow or?
Right.
Just only mate, just the one thing I'm saying about that is, that's exactly why we're so good away from home. What I saw tonight, exactly why. You can be as compact as they want to be. You can get out and spread out as much as they want to be. Beto as well starting that game was such a good choice from Dice.
He was very struck with Mercy tonight, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, but that's what you do against the E's. You're talking about, like, when they made their change when Stones went off, I thought you've got a good chance here because that back four is not City's top back four.
Yeah. I think after 6 minutes where Beto's getting legged along their back four, I got why Calvert-Lewin wasn't playing.
Yeah.
Because, you know, with the congestion coming up and, you know, arguably not our greatest chance of picking up points tonight, I thought I can see why, you know, sacrifice is probably a bit too far for someone like Beto in a game like that, but you think you do some running for him for 65, 70 minutes, and then if, you know, arguably if Dice gets to 2-1 down and he's got the option of bringing Calvert-Lewin on this morning, he probably thinks, Christ, we'll give it a whirl in that 20.
Should we have brought him on as part of a two?
I never want to see that.
I think most teams in the Premier League tear you apart if that happens. They definitely do.
I think if he has another midfielder, he does, but because there's no one to change in midfield, he's got to kind of keep.
Clive Tilsley said exactly that in the commentary. He said it's all well and good having Beto up there fighting for everything, even if he wins the ball. If you got next to him, if you got near him, who we can play it to. That's an issue we've got a lot of times when we don't have the possession enough in most games, but we always make it work. You got Calvert-Lewin on there, is obviously the better striker of the two. I thought it was good that he started Beto ahead of Calvert-Lewin in this one.
I think so. Calvert-Lewin, like, don't get me wrong, I'm delighted that he's fit to play repeated games now, but the last couple of games he has looked knackered, he hasn't looked as sharp, so rotate the squad. He's done, like, the team he set out tonight in that first half shows that he had the right setup.
Yeah.
We've just been inherently unlucky / slightly off it in the second half and being punished for it, right? Like Moses touched on there, we say, you look at, we've lost 2 league games on the bounce plus a cup game on penalties now, right? You look at that and past seasons, heads go down, you think, oh, where's our next point coming from?
Yeah.
Next 4 league games, Wolves at home, Wolves away, Villa home, Fulham away, Spurs at home. You look at the team and you look at how they've played in the recent games, you could see that team taking 6, 7, 8, 9 points from those 4 games easily, because there are teams that they can get at. They're not world-class sides like we played tonight, and if they keep this level of effort, keep the level of performance up, they will get enough points that they will be comfortably clear by the end. We've been a little bit unlucky recently with, like, teams below us picking up points, and it sort of narrows the gap, and it just goes to show the importance of those four wins on the bounce where we did pick up the points, to give us that buffer to say, right, okay, we can have a couple of games where we don't get the rub of the green.
Neither will they, though, as well, with them games.
Yeah.
Those opponents, they're not going to, the ones below us.
Well, yeah, Luton aren't going to win every week, are they?
No, they'll fall off.
They've done Luton, to be fair to them, have looked great and look inspired off the lad that basically his heart problem and all that. Looks like the fans are probably going to get a shirt out, all that. That sort of just got, you know, they
I'm so
look decent
bored of
playing.
that. How many weeks are they going to do that for?
Fucking hell, mate. I've had that sort of thing, mate, so I wouldn't have liked it myself, to be honest with you, like you say.
Would you want someone?
No,
to
absolutely.
shout
On the back.
Can I just, before you say something to edit out, I just want to finish by saying, I know we always say, like, we don't mention him anymore because he's so good every week, but how good is Jared Branthwaite? Like, I thought he was, like, absolutely outstanding tonight, like, on the ball, reading the game, battling, scrapping, absolutely amazing.
It was that, I think the one that stands out, I think it was Alvarez who was going through on goal. He kind of shoves him out the way, and instead of just giving it wide to his left back or going straight into Anana or whoever was in the middle, he sprays a ball out to Jack Harrison on the right wing. And just think, It reminded me of that Rooney quote when he went into training and he just went, "These are all crap." Because I bet you he does that every time he walks onto that pitch. But you're right in that, like, there was a couple of times in the second half down in the corner of the main stand in the park end where he just kind of nonchalantly shrugs off an attacker and plays it out, and you think, I've watched so many experienced defenders toil in doing simple things like that, and the only disturbing part of that is the fella in the other dugout who was probably watching him thinking, I'd love a bit of that. Time will tell, but
We'll be having in 2 weeks, mate.
we've got a very, very good footballer on our hands in Jarrod Branthwaite, definitely.
Well, the ironic thing about that is I've raved about Mykolenko all season. He's been my player of the season so far. I'd have actually preferred, I wouldn't say he struggled tonight, but when Bernardo Silva was getting it over his side, mate, Bernardo Silva was magnificent. It's hard not to allow him to have the space he wants when you're trying to cut inside from him. But Branthwaite went over there a few times to help out Mykolenko. Sort of looking at it, thinking when he was playing left back for us, Branthwaite, he looked insanely good at left back as well. So it must be half a dice to think, what can't this lad do where I could actually use him if I need him in a certain position?
Quick shout out for Jarrod Branthwaite.
What about Pickford's kick though?
Right, no, we don't, right? What I'll say about Jarrod Branthwaite is the same thing I said about John Stones, is he has every attribute to be an England captain in future if he kicks on, right? He's a very good footballer right now. He has everything about him to be a world-class centre-half.
You're playing for them in 6 months, England, mate.
If he develops, if he keeps going that way, I'll have a fiver on him making that England Euros squad.
7-1 it is, isn't it?
Right?
You're joking at 7-1.
It was a few weeks ago.
I'll have a little punt on that because he is that good a footballer and he can't go unnoticed for that much longer. The thing Everton have to do right is they have to decide when the right time is to sell him, because let's be honest here, he's not going to have a full career at Everton Football Club, right? He's going to move on. So you've got to decide when you're going to sell him on and when you can maximise what you get for him and how you can then reinvest that. And with everything going on with Everton at the moment, how that could be pivotal in turning around the fortunes of a football club, because you've got an absolute gem on your hands there. He is a sensational footballer, and like, you look at him a couple of years ago, he was so raw, he was so naive, he dived into tackles that he didn't need to make. Now, I don't think, and I think you'd be hard pressed to find a better centre half in the league right now with timing his tackles. He knows when to tackle and when to stand off, and when he commits to a tackle, it's a sure thing, it's a guarantee he's coming away with the ball. That's a rare commodity in a footballer now.
People will rip you, and equally for saying you'd sell them at the best time you can and get the most that you can, because you'll get loads of blues saying, "Oh, we need to grow back and still have him as part of it." That's not how it works these days.
That was gonna rip you, Keith.
No,
I mean, fold him and know when to fold him. I hope you can hear that on the pod, otherwise that is pointless.
That's why I was laughing when he said, "You've got to know when to stop it."
that is why.
If the song's not coming through in the background, Kenny Rogers, the gambler, is playing right now, which is kind of fitting. And if anybody wants to rip me on this, then I will happily listen to your complaints and tell you why you're wrong.
No, but that's it. People still say that, because I've said this on a couple of our shows, saying he's not going to be at Everton for long. I've been getting fucking people saying, "Oh, what the fuck are you saying that for? We're going to be fine." I'm like, Everton are not the team that keeps him. No team along the lines, no club along the lines of Everton.
Arguably the problem is Stones, because if I was him, I'd
people
look at that and
he's
think,
like Stones, he's better than Stones.
and obviously as an Everton player and as a Premier League footballer, as a British footballer, he'll look at him and think, I'll have a bit of that. I'm going to play for the best manager in the world and I'll win the absolute lot. But
does it make sense that he's just signed a 5-year contract, by the way?
Yeah, because he's really good and we protected our assets, aren't we?
No, I'm on about him. If it's him, obviously the more money.
He's playing really well, isn't he? So Well, listen, you've got to know when to walk away and know when to run, so we'll leave it there. Happy Christmas, everybody. I've got a great few days. Cheers from me, Keith, Dave, and Mark. We'll be back this week to reflect on that in a bit more detail and preview Wolves. Up the top is.